Some other news in Hungary, an election due in the spring, and there's been a lot of election talk recently, election rallies by your Prime Minister, Viktor Orbán, also by the opposition, who have now named one united opposition candidate, Péter Zöld, mayor of Hódmezővásárhely, a town
nice pronunciation,
in southern Hungary.
Congratulations.
Opinion polls suggest that Mr. Zöld could win the election. What do you make of those polls?
The picture is very clear, because on one side you have the ruling party, which embodies everything which has been happening since 2010, and on the other hand you have everybody collected who has to do something to be done with what happened before 2010. Before 2010, the country was in a very bad economic shape, very high unemployment rate, very high taxes, hospitals closing. Since 2010, we are among the countries in Europe which have the quickest growing economy.
So you think that your record will convince voters?
Absolutely. People have a clear choice whether to stay on the route from 2010 or to go back to the time before 2010. So people have a clear choice, and we are very self-confident in this regard.
It is interesting. Mr. Zöld is a conservative, practicing Christian, many of the values that Fidesz talks about. He used to be a Fidesz voter. He thinks he can convince Fidesz voters to vote for him.
Well, we don't know what kind of water he was, because we have no evidence on whom he voted. No one knows that, because, you know, you go
it's
into
his own words.
Yeah, okay, well, we don't know whether we can believe him, but what we know is that, you know, in Hungary, the political system is parliament-based, parties-based, so you need to have a party structure in order to become a prime minister, because it's not the population, it's not the people to elect the prime minister, it's the parliament to elect the prime minister. So it's up to the parties who's going to be the prime minister. And the leftist parties are ruled by a former prime minister called Ferenc Gyurcsány. So if it is the opposition parties to win, then it's up to Ferenc Gyurcsány to decide who's going to be the prime minister. Hopefully we'll not get there, let's put it this way.
Well, let's look at some European affairs, obviously part of your portfolio as Foreign Minister. Your government's plan for about a €7 billion share of the EU COVID recovery fund has not yet been approved by the European Commission. Do you have an update on its progress for us?
Yeah, actually, it's clearly a political process. There have been some preconditions put forward by the European Commission, some new one. You know, you have to know that before our law on the protection of children was passed by the Parliament, we were about to agree. Ursula von der Leyen has already asked for an appointment in Budapest to announce the agreement about the recovery fund. But afterwards, the Parliament has passed this law on the protection of the children, and now the European Commission wants us to withdraw this law, putting it as a precondition to get the money from the fund, which is unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable for us. We reject any kind of blackmailing in this regard. We went on the bond market, we collected 4.2 billion euros. We can start all the projects which we would have started financed by this fund. So we reject any kind of blackmailing in this regard.
Just to explain to our viewers about how this all works with the recovery fund, all member states had to put forward plans for their share of the recovery money. It included about 11 criteria that were the same across the member states. One of them, Mr. Siato, was about preventing, detecting and correcting corruption, fraud and conflicts of interest in how EU funds are used.
Yeah.
The same across all member states. That is one specific area where the Commission is asking Hungary to table robust guarantees. Since, as you say, this is EU taxpayer cash, Hungarian money partly. You agree there should be safeguards on this? Yeah,
but here I think it's an artificial precondition, because we have already fulfilled all the demands of the European Commission. We have all the necessary measures in place. If there was a systematic corruption, country would not be successful, especially economy would not be successful. So, you know, when if the European Commission does not want to give you money, they put forward some kind of, you know, perceptions, which are very, very complicated to address. So regarding concrete issues, we were always ready for dialogue and discussion. They can be sure that our measures, our institutions against corruption are strong enough. Their real precondition is that they want us to allow the LGBTI organizations to go into the kindergartens and the schools to conduct the sexual education of our children, which we will never allow to do so. So I don't think that we can agree on that, unfortunately.
Let's talk about that. It's something I'm sure it's interesting for our viewers. There's been a lot of discussion this year of this Children Protection Act, as it's known. Now, the stated aim is safeguarding children's well-being and fighting paedophilia. I'm sure everyone would agree with those things. Within the law, though, there is a part of it that prohibits the portrayal of homosexuality in settings, including schools. Just to understand on a basic level, are you saying with this law that paedophilia and homosexuality are the same thing?
No, this law doesn't say that. So if one reads the law, which is very rare, I understand, so most of the criticism on this law was put
which is
on
why
us
I looked into the detail.
without reading, but respect to you that at least you had some reading exercise before our interview. So this law consists of two parts, and they are not confused. One part of the law is against pedophilia, and the other part of the law is about ensuring the exclusive rights of the parents to conduct the education of their children on sexual orientation. So this, what the law says, that this kind of education is an exclusive right of the parents, because we stick to the fact that we know our kids the most and the best, you know.
I'm sure many parents agree, but just to help me understand, the law's name is Children Protection Act. Part of it, as I said, prohibits the portrayal of homosexuality. Do children need to be protected from knowing what homosexuality is?
Look, we have to leave it to the parents to let them know about such kind of things regarding sexual orientation, because all children are different. It is the parents who can judge the best. We have prohibited three things to be portrayed to children, and I want to underline to children. This is direct pornographic content, the promotion of homosexuality, and promotion of gender change.
Do you understand why people would be confused about the mixing of these things at the same time? Homosexuality, paedophilia, which is a crime.
But you know, it's a matter of technicality. This is not a separate law. This law has been put together by modification of different laws, you know. You will not find one chapter where these two words would occur together.
So you stand by the law. Just one other brief issue that's very important in terms of media freedom, much discussed in terms of Hungary. Now, the Council of Europe's Commissioner for Human Rights has criticised a lack of media freedom in Hungary, Dunja Mijatovic. Now, she herself is Bosnian. This is not an EU body. The Hungarian government is currently holding the presidency of this body, the Council of Europe. Is this kind of comment worth listening to?
Look, my problem is that those who put forward such kind of criticism do not speak Hungarian. If they spoke Hungarian and if they understood Hungarian, they would never make such kind of statements.
But because you understand very well that at the Council of Europe there are people working for the Council of Europe who speak Hungarian, who are advising and creating these reports.
Simply not true and not fair what Mrs. Mijatovic has said, because you cannot name any sectors of Hungarian media where the market leader would be a pro-government media. All market leaders are heavily against the government.
It's not just about the actual companies, though. For example, the Hungarian Media Council, which is responsible for ensuring the proper functioning of democratic freedoms in Hungarian media, all of the members of that were appointed by your party, Fidesz.
No, but actually the law says...
These are political appointees
the law says
overseeing media freedom.
The law says that the members of this council must be appointed and elected by the parliament by a two-thirds majority. So I think this is a democratic guarantee.
If, for example, after the next election, Fidesz is in a minority in the parliament, if this Hungarian Media Council was political appointees that were not in favour of Fidesz, you would accept that they might make decisions?
It's up to the parliament to decide, and everybody has to accept that. Everybody.
A word about the Pegasus spyware, this story that broke in the summer. A group of investigative journalists with Amnesty International, they found that a spyware called Pegasus, developed by Israel's NSO, had been illegally used to spy on private telephones around the world, including many EU citizens, President Macron, for example. Also in Hungary, several lawyers, investigative journalists, and one opposition politician. I know in the summer that you, Pitysiato, said that your government has no knowledge of this type of data collection. 3 months on, can you categorically say it was definitely not used, or are you still not sure? Well,
first of all, we reject that any Hungarian secret service would have acted against the law and would have been involved in any kind of illegal activities. That used to be the case before 2010, when the socialists were in power. Since we have taken office, no secret service in Hungary has been involved in any illegal activities.
So these people were spied on, though?
Yeah.
Do you know who by?
I don't know about that. Why should I know?
There's
and how should
on
I
the
know?
Telephones.
But you know, I can tell you one thing for sure. Nobody will be bugged because of his or her profession. Nobody. There are other reasons for what secret services might apply lawful lawful applications and
These
methods.
lawyers and journalists
but
had
I
no
don't
other
know,
charges
but,
against them. There were some individuals with security
you know,
issues. These
just
particular people,
once again,
no formal
I'm
charges.
a politician. I'm a politician. I'm definitely not involved in such kind of decisions. So it would be very weird if I knew about any kind of decisions like that. So, but once again, I want to underline, I have to tell you that no one is being bugged or looked after in Hungary because of profession. I understand that sci-fi things are exciting.
Are Hungarian state agencies using Pegasus spyware? NSO says it only sells to governments and state authorities.
Yeah, what I know is that I supervise one part of the security services in Hungary, and that one has not used it.
Are you investigating whether other security services have used it?
I don't know about this kind of investigations.
Peter Ziatu, thank you for speaking to us on France 24.
Thank you very much.